is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this? Dun 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No. Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Welcome to DBL. I miss Lindsay's laughter, don't you? I love that
Yes.
giggle. It's Tuesday, September 28th. I'm Tori. I'm here with my friends Erica and Al. Let's talk about R. Kelly. Let's talk about R. Kelly, all right? After 9 hours of deliberation, a jury in New York found him guilty on all 9 counts, including racketeering and sex trafficking. He was accused by multiple witnesses of targeting, grooming, exploiting young women, and let me say men. This was added as well for his own sexual gratification. After the verdict was read, victims and attorneys spoke out. Let's take a look.
For 30 years, we were overlooked. For 30 years, people said we were lying. For 30 years, people said this didn't occur.
I feel like justice has been served.
Of all the predators that I have pursued, however, Mr. Kelly is the worst.
Today's guilty verdict forever brands R. Kelly as a predator who used his fame and fortune to prey on the young, the vulnerable, and the voiceless for his own sexual gratification.
Well, R. Kelly faces a mandatory minimum of 10 years behind bars and could get up to life in prison. Sentencing is scheduled for May 4th. Let's talk about this, and let's talk about this the way you guys are talking about it at home. We all had heard of this for like a decade, right?
Oh, more than that.
Rumors, right? Why did it take so long? He even got acquitted in another trial. Why did R. Kelly get to keep getting passed on? Why? What do you think, Erica?
There were a lot of factors in this case, and a lot has to do with when you aren't stopped and corrected or punished for behavior that is predatory, it emboldens you to become a bigger predator. For this to be considered one of the worst predatory cases, I mean, keep in mind of just in the height of Me Too, all of the cases that we've talked about, that's a pretty astonishing statement to make. But I would have to agree that this is one of the most egregious cases that we've ever seen. And a big part of that was how complicit people were, whether it was willingly or not. You had the people who were willingly complicit, actually aiding and abetting this man in order to do these things. And then you had people who were considered very high profile, very credible, and by their relationship and close proximity to R. Kelly, it made people think like, well, maybe this is just a crazy rumor. Right. But I want to highlight Sparkle. Her government name is Stephanie Edwards. She was really the first to come forward in a public way and tell the world that R. Kelly was a predator. Her 14-year-old niece was the victim in that sex tape that really isn't a sex tape because you're talking about child pornography. 20 years ago, she went on to an LA radio station and made these allegations. Her career was derailed. Her life was threatened. Her family unit was broken up as a result of this. And now we're coming back and saying she was telling the truth. But now we have 20 years of victims, survivors, who could have been easily avoided being survivors of this man had she been believed. So we have to ask the question and also talk about the fact that his victims were young black women and black girls. Yes. So when we talk about organizations like A Long Walk Home, which is based out of Chicago, these are organizations we need to be highlighting in this moment because they are boots on the ground doing this work.
Amen. What do you think, Al?
You know, I think, Erica, I'm listening to what you're saying, and obviously I agree. As you were talking, and I was thinking about the timeline you were talking about, I was like, well, at least we now have an answer to about how long does it take for public discourse and public thought in the public paradigm to shift. And it's about 25 years. Because I remember being outraged, and I was not a worldly young guy when I was in Cleveland when this videotape was out. I had people that were laughing. I remember I went to New York City. They were selling it on the subway.
It was all laughter.
There was a sketch on Comedy Central about it with Dave Chappelle, and everybody was laughing. I remember watching. I was like, would he be doing that sketch if R. Kelly had allegedly urinated on a young white girl?
I was just
would we be doing that sketch then? And I remember just being, but no one was saying anything. We go back to the victim blaming, victim shaming. Let's be honest about what convicted R. Kelly. It was not the jury. It was that Lifetime documentary. So the question is, are we going to be the society that needs a cable network to highlight things in order for us to change public thought? Or are we maybe going to say, hey, maybe if 30 adult women all get together and say the exact same thing happened, everything tracks, and you know, it appears to be true. Maybe we'll listen to them rather than having something that plays commercials in between it for us to change our minds. So we'll see. Let's hope we've grown up a little bit as a society.
Progress is right, but that's why people say they don't believe you when you come forward, because we've heard this for years. All right, write us in on YouTube and our DBL app and let me know how you feel about the R. Kelly. How long do you think he should be in prison as well? Did Dog the Bounty Hunter just find a big lead in the Gabby Petito case? So he says he's investigating a tip that Brian Laundrie and his parents visit a campground 75 miles from their Florida home in early September. Here's what he told Fox News. Take a look.
Registered, went through the gate, they're on camera, they were here, and they did enter. They did come here. Allegedly, what we're hearing is 2 people left on the 8th, 3 people came in on the 6th, and 2 people left on the 8th. I think he's been here for sure.
Get this, remember this video we showed you earlier of dog banging on that Laundrie's door over the weekend? Well, apparently Brian's mom called 911 to get him off their property. An attorney for Brian's parents said his clients, quote, do not know where Brian is. They are concerned about Brian and hope the FBI can locate him. Is all this weird press good or bad? I cannot decide if this is good or bad because it's sort of making a parody of it, but he's also sort of finding clues. Am I right, Al?
I mean, it's good for Dog. I mean, if you just had a story that we covered 2 weeks ago about him saying he has a past to use the N-word, this is a good way to get that out of the headlines.
Right.
You know,
but is it good for Gabby Petito's mom and dad?
I also think it's good for Brian Laundrie. Do you see those pictures that we showed? Do you see the pictures that are circulating? It looks like he's about to run for mayor. I mean, don't forget, like, when have you ever seen a picture of Trayvon Martin with him smiling? It's always him with the hood over. We always get pictures like this. Same with that guy that killed his family, his daughters and his wife, and put them in oil drums. The pictures look like they should have been in a frame at Walmart.
Right.
So, like, whether we're talking or showing, we are creating a public a framework for the public to be like, he's a good kid, Erica. He might have just, who knows? I'm worried about him. Erica, I'm worried about him. I mean, not really. Are you?
I'm just, you know, it's interesting when we're listening to what Dog, who I believe is an opportunist, is saying. He was familiar with the outside, therefore he may be outside.
Yeah, that's...
3 people went in and 2 people came out. He may have been here. I mean,
it's a lot of maybes.
Couldn't we have just said that? We could do that. Right. I mean, it's just, to me, it just makes such a mockery of this entire thing. But Al, you're absolutely right. When we have these pictures, it's so important to look at the way that our minds work when we're given images that are reflective of our lives in the most beautiful times. And how we don't afford that to everyone. And it shouldn't be afforded to anyone who's accused of something like this, really.
Erica, I don't think this changes until we start getting some answers from the police about, you know, as to why there wasn't a car immediately put on his house. Anytime somebody's partner disappears, you're automatically the #1 suspect. We've all seen Lifetime. So why wasn't, what do you think, he's got a house somewhere else? He's gonna go back to his parents' house and re-up. Why wasn't there a cop sitting?
And the response to that, that I can't explain to you is, in some states, without a body, there is no crime, and therefore no probable cause to surveil.
Well, then how
do
we convict anybody in the mafia?
I hear you. I completely hear. I would like to hear from the police as well, and the FBI, as well as Dog just saying he's outside. Coming up,
Tori, there were 3 and now there are 2.
There's 3, now there's 2. Coming up
Explain
on
that.
Yeah, right. Our interview with Dancing with the Stars judge Derek Hough. We're getting his take on the controversial dancers hitting the stage. And Joe Rogan is comparing vaccine mandates to the Holocaust. You heard that correctly, and we're going to talk about it coming up next. Stay tuned.
Closed captioning provided by
Got it. Oh, man.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, guys? We're talking about R. Kelly finally getting his day in court. And you know, there's again, we always talk about the age that we're at. We're this weird generation, Tori, where we have one foot in the digital world and one in the analog world. So now I think people could get on and talk about R. Kelly and do whatever they want. But there was, for a while, it was just like what you heard over the radio.
Right.
And so like you had to kind of form your own opinion. And I remember being out and being like, how is everybody dancing to this?
Well, here's the thing, because I'm from Chicago. When this story broke nationally, as in he was actually going to have to face these charges, I talked about my relation to R. Kelly, like in proximity, and it's interesting to me, just like looking back on that time, because you know, you would see him out with some of the most prominent people in Chicago. You know, he was the special guest. He was protected in this bubble because also Chicago being a big city, but also not necessarily in New York or LA, the celebrity status, like when you're breeding people up and they're, you know, international level, there is a cloak of protection there. So when you are hearing what to me was simply a rumor, because when this came out, I was in high school. So I wasn't watching some bootleg tape from a flea market of a man allegedly doing this to what people were referring to as a woman. Turns out it was a young girl. I still to this day haven't seen that, nor am I interested in watching it. So now it becomes kind of like urban legend as opposed to something that actually happened. And when you start discrediting the only people who are coming forward and they don't have any pull, then it's like more convenient just to believe that this is just urban legend. That's really what it is.
You're right.
Welcome back to DBL. What's a day without talking about Joe Rogan? Am I right? Podcast megastar Joe Rogan posted a video to Instagram, and it is going viral. It was made by a fan, and it features his voice over some very controversial images. Now, he's talking about the COVID vaccine mandates, and he's comparing them to authoritarianism, including in Nazi Germany. Take a look. We'll discuss after.
As soon as you see something, anything that comes along and inhibits your freedom, you should be very cautious of that thing. You should be very suspicious, because anything that comes along that can inhibit your freedom is, by definition, anti-American.
What do you think of Joe Rogan's video, especially given there's a long history of vaccine requirements in this country, like for kids in schools? Do you think COVID vaccine mandates take away your freedom? Yes or no? We want to hear from you. Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Go ahead and let us know. I'm Jewish. I have family that survived the Holocaust. They gassed people, they tortured people, they mangled people, they starved people, they shot people. To me, this is incredibly offensive to compare that with asking you to do something that's part of a responsibility of every modern society. Even the Supreme Court in 1905 has said it's okay. I don't understand these comparisons. To me, it feels like you have not been oppressed if you think having a vaccine passport is the same as Nazi Germany. You just haven't been oppressed. You've been privileged your whole life. I'm sorry if I come off angry. This hits hard for me.
Why are you apologizing?
Well, I don't want to come off as snappy or strident, but
you're Jewish and they're comparing. Yeah. I mean, like, what's the rule about comparing things to the Holocaust or slavery? Just don't.
Just don't.
Yes.
Like, just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, when we're having these conversations, it's very difficult for people to have these conversations without having some sense of, you know, excitement or angst or, you know, whatever it is. To me, I'm really so done having this conversation about vaccines, not vaccines. I know what my reality is, and my reality is I have to go to another funeral that could have been prevented this week. Mm-hmm. So when someone tries to argue with me about this on social media, I'm not interested in having an argument with you about my experiences. I'm just not interested. And furthermore, what other ailment, virus, terminal illness, has it ever been okay for someone to say, you know, I've just lost 4 or 5 of my relatives this year to this disease, to this virus, and for you to argue with them about it?
Right.
It is like the biggest
Yep.
It's like, no,
Slap in the face.
Where else can we do that? With what else?
Exactly. Al, what do you think?
I mean, I just wonder if the Nazis rounded up Joe when he got COVID and he took himself to the hospital. It's so interesting when we use these narratives and when we don't. I've watched the entire video, and there's cutaways to American Eagles, and then the next shot is shell casings hitting the ground. And again, it's not just what you're saying, Erica, it's what you're showing. And what you're showing is violence. You're showing police looking strident with shields, and we all know what that image is. That's about putting down any movement that you don't care for. This is a propaganda video. He has a lot of viewers, and this is how it starts. We'll see where we are in a year.
Let's see what the audience says. 79% of you say, no, vaccine mandates don't take away your freedom. Don't compare anything to slavery or Holocaust. We know survivors personally, and it's offensive. We'll be right back.
Sadly, the global supply chain problems that have plagued everything from furniture to microchips are now affecting Halloween supplies. Right now, huge tankers are stacked up at ports across the U.S., loaded down with goods. According to global supply chain experts, there are not enough workers to unload these ships and not enough truck drivers to get those goods where they need to go. So the backlog continues. So what does that mean for Halloween? Popular items like costumes and decorations may be harder to find. Experts say there's no need to panic, you just might need to make more than one trip. An executive with Spirit Halloween told a supply chain news organization there could be delays in select inventory, especially animatronic decorations, but they expect stores to be fully stocked in time for Halloween. And you can expect this holiday to be pretty big. Another pandemic trend we've seen is people going big on holidays as we all search for a sense of normalcy. Morris Costumes, one of the largest costume distributors in the world, says 2020 was one of their biggest years ever, and they expect the same this year. Some of the biggest items for 2021, yard decorations.
Welcome back to DBL. After Cheryl Burke's shocking COVID diagnosis on Dancing with the Stars last night, this season has definitely been one of the most controversial. And here we are for the drama. Last week we caught up with Derek Hough. He's a good-looking man, right? To chat about it, that's today's Chatting with the Stars.
We got to talk about who's stirring up the most controversy this season. We've been covering it on the show, and our viewers, well, they have an opinion. So we want to ask you directly about Olivia Jade. What would you tell our viewers in regard to giving her a second chance, or not?
You know, here's the thing. I think what's bad is always available, but so is what's good. And where our focus goes, our energy flows. So why not focus on what's good in this world and in each other? I think that we do a lot better doing that in general. And I feel like for me, you know, it's a beautiful thing to be able to give people. I think in our life's journey, you know, the most pivotal point that we all experience in our lives is redemption. And we all experience that. And I would love for somebody to offer me some grace. And so why not?
Oh my gosh, what a lovely thing to say.
I love that,
oh my
Derek.
gosh.
I love that. We also saw some serious talent from JoJo Siwa on the dance floor. But how did she get the highest score of the night? Viewers want to know, even though her partner stumbled.
You know what? I think because the rest of it was just so good. I don't know. I know for me personally, I gave her, I think I didn't score her the highest for me personally. I think I can't remember who it was that I gave the highest score for, but by the way, can we just talk about how she handled that?
Yeah.
Because you know she dropped Jenna fell. You know Jenna's the pro, and she went picked her right back up and carried on like a true pro. So it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive.
All right, I got to talk to you because I follow you and all this video stuff, and your videos are incredible. And I'm serious, if you haven't
His
seen
TikTok game?
But even the stuff he does with graphics, I don't know where you get it, but you've posted some great clips. We do have one we want to show you. Take a look.
Okay. Yeah,
I love that.
So
tell us about that.
So that's one that was no graphics, no special effects. Just a very common question we get asked very, very often, which totally fine, and I'm all about it. It's all good. But it's actually funny. We actually kind of addressed that a little bit in my new Vegas show. Because my girl, who's Haley, who you just saw there, she's actually dancing with me on stage. She's with me, so we actually kind of play with that a little bit within the show and have fun with it. So
that's good.
Yeah.
I come from a Jewish mother, so I totally get it. When do you get married? Totally get it.
So Derek, I swear I'm not stalking your social media. Although every time you come on the show, I bring up a random picture of you. So what about this picture of you? Because you're just chilling under the sea without a shirt. So tell us what's going on here, bruh.
What's going on? I mean, here's the thing. I'm a big adventure guy. I love the outdoors, and I've gotten into free diving lately, and so I'm about 35 feet deep there, and
dude,
I just love just being one with the ocean. So we were actually swimming with spotted dolphins on that trip.
Who is this guy?
And it was amazing. So yeah, that's pretty much all that happened. I was like, oh, there's a chair. Let's put it down there and sit down there. I don't know. I was just having fun with it.
35 feet, your eardrums didn't hurt? My eardrums would have hurt.
You got to blow it out.
You gotta equalize.
Yeah.
Just equalize. I'll show you. I'll teach you how to do it. Don't worry about it.
Oh, that's good.
I'm gonna hold you to it. Okay, so we gotta talk about this video, Derek, that a lot of our viewers loved. I did too, about you singing a message to your high school bully. First, I want you and our viewers to watch this.
Brad, I bet you wonder why the prom queen dumped you. The one who got away and broke your heart. Well, it turns out she was a dancer who liked boy dancers.
And you can catch them both on the TV in your mom's garage.
Wow. Oh.
Did Brad ever apologize?
No, I'm gonna be really honest with you. Brad is not a real person.
What?
Brad is a metaphor for those who like to pick on people and how those people tend to move on and do great things in their lives. And so, yeah, it was more of a metaphor. But I will be honest with you. I was legitimately bullied a lot at school growing up, and so it was kind of just a metaphor for that experience. You know what I mean?
Brad.
So.
Don't be a Brad. Don't be a Brad.
Is that the new Karen?
That's the new Karen.
It's Karen and Brad, people.
No, Derek started it.
It's Derek now.
Hey, Brad's out there. I love you, Brad. You're great.
All right, Derek, thank you for chatting with us. Don't forget to watch new episodes of Dancing with the Stars every Monday. We appreciate you, and I will contact your people to go free diving with you. Just kidding. It's okay. I'm married. Don't worry. We'll be right back.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe worry a little bit.
A little bit worried.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
This year, health experts warn the flu will bounce back. So despite the down year, our research and experts tell us that yes, they still had to reformulate the flu vaccine for this year. A viewer asked in an email, has this year's flu shot batch been updated or is it the same as last year? A great question. To get the answer, we went to the CDC, the World Health Organization, and a pediatric infectious diseases expert, Dr. Andrea Berry from the University of Maryland School of Medicine. First, Dr. Berry explained how we get the flu vaccine.
In February, the WHO committee meets to figure out what was circulating actually in the Southern Hemisphere the previous year in order to determine what to put in the flu vaccine.
According to Dr. Berry and the CDC, the WHO found a new influenza strain circulating in the southern hemisphere. So yes, this year's flu vaccine will be different from last year's. Okay, so while we're talking about flu vaccines while booster shots are being developed, could they all just be lumped into one? That's what our viewer also wanted to know by asking, could future flu vaccines also protect against new COVID-19 variants and other viruses? According to Dr. Berry, it's certainly a possibility because the current flu vaccine does cover other viruses.
So ever since 2009 H1N1 pandemic, we've had a flu and a strain of influenza in the vaccine that is similar to that pandemic strain.
Dr. Berry went on to say that scientists are researching right now to see if this can be done with SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19 as well. But at this point, we'll have to leave this answer blank because it hasn't been done yet. While we don't know if that'll be the case, that doesn't mean some companies aren't trying to create a combination vaccine. According to press releases, at least 2 companies are looking into combo COVID booster and flu shots. It's Moderna and Novavax. With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
We're chatting about homeowner scams during cooler weather. It's in today's Bang for Your Buck, presented by The Hartford. According to the Better Business Bureau, it's not uncommon to have a contractor who only accepts cash to show up at your doorstep. Here are tips to keep you safe. First, check that Better Business Bureau site to see if the contractor's ratings and if complaints have been filed. Ask past customers if their project was completed on time. Next, compare multiple contractors and get yourself a written contract. Finally, before making the final payment, ensure all the work's been completed and any subcontractors or suppliers have been paid and the job site has been cleaned up. The Hartford Financial is here to help, whether it's home, life, or insurance. It's 1-800-683-7108. Bye, guys!